So, we're on part 3 of daily number 409, where we learn to be a better gamer. It's Kas vs Zenio. We're going to wrap it up probably in the next 15 minutes. Had a longer part 2. Probably going to end up being a shorter part 3. I just got so in the zone because I love watching our good friend EmpireKas do what he do. Now, this point in time is the perfect freeze frame to illustrate what makes EmpireKas so different than other Terrans. Look at the composition back home of his buildings. Tons of barracks with reactor. Neat. Factories, starport. You know, he has some upgrades churning out of these engineering bay and armory. Oh, look at that. A third factory. Kind of uncommon to have 3 factories. Kind of uncommon to have this many freaking bases as Terran against Zerg. Oh, that's so good. But most importantly, Marines, tanks, Thors, medevacs. That's it. And a hell of a lot of SCVs. In the meantime, we see that our Zerg buddy Zenio is about to get a greater spire. About to get one of those big, scary Broodlord Infestor armies. But we see one Infestor. We see no Corruptors. And we don't even really see enough gas to get that many Corruptors and Broodlords anyways. In other words, EmpireKas, by being so aggressive and expanding so much, has forced Zenio to have a really difficult transition to the Broodlords. It's either going to be late or it's going to be real small. And this is the real magic of watching him play. I guarantee if someone like Thorzane were playing against Zenio here, we had the same drop thing begin and the same exchanges, Thorzane would almost certainly sit comfortably, scan, see when that hive was coming up, and then begin getting Ghosts and Vikings right on cue. And then when they engaged in the battle, Thorzane would try to out-muscle Zenio with the correct composition. Or I guess I should say, out-finesse Zenio with the correct composition. Kas is the person who is all muscle. All muscle. Huge army. That mega drop. 3 full medevacs to take out an expansion. Lost everything. Got into this great position where he has 10 full siege tanks in the right spot. So somewhere we have Broodlord. Broodlord, one of the smallest numbers of Broodlord possible. So Zenio, as we are seeing right here, what have we said so many times? One of the best ways to take out an aggressive player like EmpireKas is counter-aggression. Zenio just killed off a stupid number of workers. He's up to 85. But because Kas is a huge badass, he didn't slow down his push once at all. He just had some of his reinforcements there to try to fix this. And then you know what he did after he lost all his workers? He built another command center. See what I mean? He just built another command center. Oh shit, everything's dead. I'll build another command center. Nice! Right? Cool! We're starting to see an actual style come out of here. It's not so much that he has a good timing for building new command centers. He just builds a lot of them. Start to finish. Yeah. Now, in terms of ways to deal with Broodlords, there is probably the most effective thing to do is to build the Ghost due to snipe, due to the fact that medevacs heal it. But great! Instead, he is getting Vikings. This is a much faster, this is a much more aggressive unit to build. Vikings can go off and do things on their own. Ghosts really cannot. Even when you nuke, you have to be a little careful to make sure it's appropriately reinforced. So you're seeing that Kas is just pushing his head so far against what Zenio's doing. And Zenio only has a pair of Broodlords. Is that right? Yeah, 2 Broodlords. We see Broodlord 3 coming up. Beautiful. So good. Almost always when you're pushing like this and Broodlords arrive, you have to retreat because he has 6, 7, 8 Broodlords and you have only basic units. Not Kas. Kas doesn't have to do that because he's been so aggressive throughout. Look at him just keep slamming things out. And here is a big transition that I don't know where they are, but I see them on the production tab. Here they are. EmpireKas, if he really sees Broodlords and is starting to get fearful, he is not going to get a whole bunch of barracks and then start to add on tech labs and then get the Ghosts. He's just going to begin churning out Vikings. EmpireKas is one of the most ghost-free players of all time. Continuing this sort of relentlessness. Oh, damn. Wasn't able to take it out. Would not be surprised to see Kas build another command center soon, as that is what he do. There's the orbital command coming up. But now Kas is in a good position. As you can see, no expand, no expand, new expand. Yeah, Zerg has the gold. EmpireKas is going to recoup for a brief period of time. He's going to be building a lot of medevacs out of all his happy time. Air factories. And there's not too much ultra mega noteworthy past here. But EmpireKas loves his minerals. Aggressively muling all around everywhere. There's a lot more barracks. And there's the Ghost Academy, one of the latest possible Ghost Academies you could have. No biggie. EmpireKas is going to continue with these gigantic late game drops. These really big ones. You see how this whole army dipped to here? Well, that's a weird position to dip to. Well, not if you're expanding here. It's a good position to dip to. Also helps defend this drop a little bit more. Oh, look at that. The whole army getting out of position again. Broodlord gets taken out because the Broodlords have not been a threat once this entire game. He could probably even attempt a main drop right now. He may very well, but still, this entire army was caught out of position due to some drops. And if I haven't said it enough, EmpireKas is going to demonstrate it one final time. He's building another command center because, I kid you not, he is going to be expanding here. I'm not actually joking. He does it in about 5 minutes. He keeps expanding while he's attacking. Like crazy he expands, scanning not nearly as much as he's muling. I mean, his general push positioning and push technique is excellent. I haven't really talked about that. I've talked more about just generally where he's moving the army, generally what compositions he's going for and where he's moving, but I mean specifically doing things like running forward with a small group of Marines to take out the key building, and then taking the whole mass of things and doing a repositioning. And again, little sprints, like here. Repositioning, setting it up, and then let's take this little box over. Yeah. This is just Zenio doing the tilt. He's doing the tilt. Because Zenio's basically given up. Feeling super bummed about the loss. And the game ends shortly thereafter. In the unit counting station, we see no ghosts. We see 94 SCVs. 94. And the weird thing is that I've watched a lot of Kas's games today, and he always has like 90 SCVs. I actually am... It's one of those kinds of plays where the norm of worker count is somewhere between 65 and 80. That's where people tend to kind of get to and then they rest. You see some players do things like go to 100 drones and then build 30 spine crawlers so they're back down to 70. But Kas really often never stops the SCV production and just goes nutso with it. And I'm not sure if it would be improved by reducing it or not. I'd have to think. Kas still does things like bring a lot of SCVs if he thinks he has overworkered. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and take some questions. Is that not just terrifying? That play, that's like so scary. I also need a haircut. I need something short. I like short hair. I like my head looking like this, but this is just a little bit too like this tuft. This sort of like look like Kramer from Seinfeld. All right. All right. Let's see. People are asking about sushi. I will do anything for sushi, of course. Let's take this question from Killer Bones 189. Day 9, I'm currently a high gold player and I play Zerg, but when I play Terran, I always have a hard time because they'll send a crazy amount of medevacs to my base, like 5, and I don't have the good unit composition to react to it. So one of the big things that I think all Zerg players need to do is just have the general good spread of like overlords everywhere, but I think the real unsung hero of drop defense is creep spread. If we look back towards the main, we see that there's creep or there was creep extending all throughout the main. I think that maybe back here closer to the, was it 18-minute mark, 15-minute mark? Yeah, Zenio was building creep tumors just for his main and joining all this together. And if you come to a spot like the 24-minute mark, Zenio does have a pretty good control of the vision on the map. So what I would say is that if you're going for any composition, make sure you have a ton of creep tumors spreading everywhere. Make sure you have a ton of vision everywhere. And once you've done that, if you're still having an issue, it's probably compositionally based. If, for instance, you are doing something like mutiling Baneling, you're just going to have to be better about positioning your Mutalisk and getting there in time. If you're going something like Infestor Zergling, nothing wrong with planting 3 or 4 Spine Crawlers in your main base to buy you a little more time to bring all your units back. Or if you're in the late stages and you're going Infestor Broodlord, nothing wrong with building all those Spine Crawlers up there. I love this. Love that so much. From Lollipop says, Day 9, how do you think Zenio could have come out on top of this match? I think the big moment was right here. Oh, damn replay. If only you could go to the 14-minute mark. Right here, right as we're getting ready to drop, I think it's time to start transitioning. Build a Spire, build another Evolution Chamber, get ready to go Ling, Baneling. But we see here, no Spire, no Spire, no Spire. This gets dropped, that's just Kas being good. There's not much we can do about that. We'll probably build a hatch, build a Spire, build another Evolution Chamber, start upgrading. All this period of time, cool, there they finally go down, but they're a little bit late. And as I continue to progress forward, watch how this stays inactive. Super inactive. And watch, the Spire is going to finish up, but we're not really going to make any air units. Look, the Spire's done. No air units at all. We're still making roaches. Still making roaches, still trying to end it. No air units at all. None. None in the slightest. Oh god, we're not making air units. We're not even using the Spire. Holy bejeebus. Why are we not using the Spire? Oh god. Oh crap. Hey, look. Hey, now we're using the Spire. Good. So in that whole period where I was screaming, which was about 6 minutes, Zenio's doing these absolutely killer drops. The first one nearly won the game, but barely didn't. The subsequent ones, a little weak. And we talked about that. If you have something really strong, and you keep doing it, and it keeps getting a little bit weaker and weaker over time, it means that you should have transitioned sooner. So what I think that Zenio should have done is... Unfortunately, he just didn't do it quickly enough, so he was at this position, I think, in a little bit of a rough patch. But I think that if Zenio looks at this game, he'll think, yeah, next time I'm going to need to get my Mutalisk and my Spire up, because I'm envisioning that Mutalisk could have been done probably around here, probably around the 16-minute mark. And if I'm at the 16-minute mark and I'm Kas, and all of a sudden Mutalisks are starting to wreak havoc in my main... Ugh, God. I mean, I might not even be able to rebuild this command center. If Mutalisks and Zerglings are hitting here and threatening this area, and poking here, and of course popping back here, it's going to be an absolute nightmare. And I think that everything after that sort of rooted in that, where, yeah, I mean, sure, Zenio got some Mutalisks up at that point, you know, sure he was able to do some things, but where are those 7 Mutalisks at anyways? There they are. I think that Zenio was never really able to quite getting his footing up, and especially when Kas does his sort of optical illusion scary Terran, where he's constantly attacking you and expanding, you just kind of hole up into defense mode, and that's a rough thing to pop about. God, my nose is so itchy. I'm gonna take one more question. Yeah. Alphas. Dana, what do you think about this in other matchups? Do you think that this is similar to maybe doing something in PvZ with constant pressure and mineral units while building up a death ball? I really think that this can work very well in other matchups. The idea that I think is just generally going on is that you have your mid or your early game, which I think you can pretty much call an opening. How do you open and deal with all possible openings? Cool. Then you have your late game mega composition. Like, let's say for Terran would be like Ghosts and Vikings and tanks and medevacs, Maybe some Thors too, but mainly ghosts, yeah. And then in between, in this mid-game, you have your core units, like Marines, tanks, or maybe Blink Stalkers and Zealots and Sentries, or just Roach Hydra, that kind of thing. The way to do that kind of, this like aggressive play, is to take your mid-game and to do everything that contributes to the mid-game. Get all the upgrades you can. Expand a lot and keep making those units. Attack a lot with those units. Do drops with those units. Do Nidus Worms with those units. Expand and build defensive structures with those units. And that is, I think we'll slowly see more and more and more and more and more and more of that pop up. EmpireKas is really one of the big thought leaders in the Terran versus Zerg space, where he he expands so fucking much. He's crazy. Just keeps building command centers, just sending all the command centers. It's almost like he builds 2 command centers and just sends them to opposite sides, because if he builds 2 planetaries, then probably one of them will live, and then he'll just send mules to that one, and it'll be okay, because he has 100 workers. I've never seen him not do this in his recent TVZs. Hero does a little bit of this as well, where you'll see him just with a huge globby Stalker Sentry army with some Immortals in there. Maybe not, maybe just Stalker Sentry with Blink and some Zealots and Archons. It'll just be expanding and expanding and expanding and doing stuff with the Warp Prism and expanding. And that's what we've been seeing, is there's been this sort of extension of the mid-game. And that's why games are a little bit longer in StarCraft 2 now. And I think that as people get more cost-like, it'll be more fun to watch and more fun to play. Fun Day Monday, submit to Monday at day9.tv. A game of you attacking with a spine crawler in every attack. You may not attack unless the spine crawlers may come play, because the best offense is a good defense. And submit to feedback at day9.tv, your favorite Fun Day Monday topics of all time, because we're doing repeats. For Newbie Tuesday next week, send me your ultra late game plays, so that way we can review them to Tuesday at day9.tv. I'm out. Oh, and of course, one more brief thing that I wanted to say. On February the 7th, I'm going to be streaming Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. I'm going to be doing a streamathon. And it's not just me. As much as I love my single-player games and that single-player gaming experience, I like social aspects. So I've invited some other people to join in to form the Day of Reckoning. Oh yeah, I'll be sharing a little bit more details about that this week. It's gonna be epic. It's gonna be good. See you later.